Hello everyone, it's me, Monica Pete Hall, aka Conduit of Healing, and it is time for our weekly messages for the collective. This one is going to be kind of a doozy. I love the doozies. I know sometimes like truth bombs are like, oh my gosh, but that's kind of the purpose of a truth bomb. But before we get started, if you've been enjoying our weekly gatherings, please make sure you are liking the videos and subscribing to the channel because I don't want you to miss a thing. All right, let's get into it. I wear glasses. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that part, but yeah, these are not for fashion. I wear glasses, so anytime you've seen me wearing contact lenses. Wasn't in the mood today, wasn't feeling it, didn't do it, and so we're wearing glasses today. So you're gonna get all this nerdy girl, spiritual warrior energy today. Hope you enjoy it. Anyway, enough of that. To today's message. Today's message is about living Namaste. Living Namaste. Oh, this is about to get real interesting. So, what does the crew say? Namaste is a Hindi greeting, but in spiritual terms, it is an acknowledgement, a respect, and a reverence given to the higher parts of oneself. In the spiritual practice, it is yoga, meaning joining or unity. Sessions often end with a single heartfelt namaste. But it is not just a convenient greeting or a Sanskrit word one should be taking lightly. Namaste is a concept to be lived, living our lives honoring our highest selves and the highest form of one another. So the question for you is, do you live Namaste? I told you. You know, it's so funny. So I've been studying yoga. It was first introduced to me in college. So we're going to say 20 plus years ago. And, you know, for me, everyone has their sect of yoga that kind of works for them. For me, it's always been vinyasa, flow yoga, because of the repetition. For me, the repetition, gives me the opportunity to dig deeper into myself and to connect myself. So it's really interesting to find out, the word yoga means to join or unify, the unification of spirit, mind, and body, right? But not just with ourselves, but when we're taking these classes and we're doing it as a group, it's really us, uniting ourselves with ourselves as well as one another, making our own kind of collective, right? So that when we say namaste, we are acknowledging our teacher, the teacher is acknowledging the students, and the students are acknowledging one another. Okay, got that part? You with me so far? Good. All right. So unfortunately, but this is kind of what happens when we start bringing mysticism west, right? It kind of becomes sanitized. And, it's one of my personal pet peeves that people like saying words like namaste. If you're living in India and this is literally part of your greeting and part of your life, there's the hands that come with it, right? And the position of the hands, whether it's going here, it means something. It has a purpose. But unfortunately, again, things come west, they get commoditized, they get sanitized, they get scrubbed of all of their, symbolism and meaning to make it more commercially palatable for people. So what I have felt, and I'm sure some of you have felt, is people like to use affirmations and they like to chant and they like to use these words without any thought as to what these words mean, what they symbolize, what they convey, and the fact that they are part of a spiritual practice. So namaste, right? Honoring the highest part of one another. So the highest part of me honors the highest part of you, the God in me honors the God in you, the soul in me honors the soul in you. All right, those are really pretty words. Without a doubt, anytime I say them or I feel them, and I always end my messages with namaste because it is very important for me that you understand that anytime I provide a message or anytime I'm working as conduit of healing, I am honoring the highest part of you. Now, you may not know who that person is. The highest part of you may be a complete stranger to you right now. But when I say namaste to you, my hope is that that part of you that is very real hears itself being called and it feels acknowledged and feels the need to answer in some sort of way, whether that be kind of like a smile that comes to your face, whether it be a glint in your eye, whether it be a knowingness or an awareness or clarity that you get. So when I say namaste, that is me literally calling the highest part of you. Again, you may not know who that person is. All right, so what is living namaste? Living namaste is literally taking everything that you've learned in your spiritual practice, that you've, gleaned and gathered from your yoga practice, and taking it into real life. See, this is kind of what really, annoys me. It is so cool to call yourself a spiritual warrior, to say that you're a light worker, to say that you're conscious and you're living a life of consciousness. It's so cool to say those things, but it is a completely different experience to consciously live those things, to consciously treat yourself and to treat one another with the acknowledgement and the reverence of the highest part of yourself and one another. And I'm tired of seeing this, we have seen for centuries, right? People leave these institutions, people leave these gatherings, people leave these circles, people leave these retreats, feeling high on their experience there. And then they go into their lives and they literally haven't changed. They can be snappy with people. They can project their issues onto people. They can violate people's boundaries. They can treat people poorly, treat people like they're second class or that they don't matter. But then you want to say namaste. That doesn't work. It's actually not only is it an imbalance, right? It's literally kind of almost declaring conflict within yourselves and within your life, right? So if we're talking about you want to manifest a life of peace and of happiness, you're not going to do that if you, by your own free will, are treating yourself poorly or treating other people poorly or not really acknowledging in your treatment of one another your best and highest good. Okay. That's a hard one, right? I'm literally saying the things that are not popular to say, the things that, some people are afraid to say, but this is not a thinking game. Ascension is not a thinking game. It is not mental exercise or mental gymnastics for your brain to go, oh, what if? Like, if you're just going to stay in your brain with all of this stuff, nothing's going to change. If you are not understanding that these concepts are really to help you shift your consciousness and to acknowledge and express more of your spiritual purity, your spiritual being, then I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what y'all are doing. It's not just for you to, I'm doing yoga for myself and then I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be an asshole. Or, I'm doing meditation for myself. And then when I get out, I'm still going to be a horrible parent, or I'm still going to be verbally abusive or psychologically abusive to people because I'm either angry with myself or I'm angry with the world or both. I'm going to take out my fear, my pain, my anxiety out on others and then say namaste. It just simply doesn't work. So my neighbor's dogs are pretty loud today. So if you hear that, I apologize. But it simply doesn't work. You cannot say these things, do these things, practice these things, and then stay the same short-tempered, angry, judgmental, closed off person that you were before. This is conflict, and I'm sure the conflict is showing up in your life. I'm sure it's showing up in your heart. I'm sure it's showing up in your spirit. I'm sure it's showing up, manifested in your relationships with either yourself or with others. This isn't something we're playing at, people. This is something we're becoming, consciously choosing to become, consciously choosing to, speak my best and highest good, live my best and highest good, treat others with, their best and highest good. And again, I'm going to remind you, just because you're treating somebody in reverence of their best and highest good doesn't mean they're always going to respond. But you know what? That's not always necessary either. You don't necessarily need someone to respond to you in their best and highest good. Sometimes it's just enough to remind them in a subtle way, in the way that you treat them, that there is a best and highest person, soul, spirit, being inside them that perhaps they hadn't met, hadn't acknowledged, hadn't strived for, hadn't chosen. Sometimes it's just good to plant a seed and then walk away from it and let the universe water it, make sure it sprouts. That's not our job. Sometimes just awareness, acknowledgement, and dropping a message like I do here weekly. Sometimes that's just enough. You don't necessarily need to see, oh, did that seed sprout? Did it take root? Did anything happen? That's not your job. That's not your job. It's not your job. It's not my job. Just give the message. Do your best. Keep it moving. Okay, what about living Namaste for yourself, right? If you are going through all of these practices and yet still inside, you haven't start excavating all the things within you that are making you feel unworthy, that are making you feel insecure, that are making you feel angry, that are hurts that have gone unhealed. Are you really living Namaste as an individual? No, because it's about honoring the highest part of yourself. So what does that mean to honor? Sometimes it means listening. Sometimes it means just acknowledging, like, okay, I see, I hear, I feel. Sometimes it means doing for ourselves, right? Is it enough for you to say, I'm hurting? Sure, maybe for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, it may feel good that you've acknowledged that you're hurting, or that you're acknowledging that you're angry, or that you're acknowledging that you're feeling insecure. It absolutely is going to feel good, right? But then the looming question of what now starts kind of making itself apparent. I feel sad. I feel unworthy. I feel angry. I feel insecure. I feel jealous, envy, whatever. I feel lost, whatever it is, right? Acknowledging it is like it's all, I can't even call it step one. It's not even step one. It's like the prequel to step one. Like if you've ever taken a college course, sometimes you got to take a pre-course to get to the course that you really need to take. So acknowledgement, let's just say that's like pre-step one. All right, so I've acknowledged it. Then the question is like, well, what am I going to do? And that is step one. What am I going to do? All right, so if I say that Namaste, the God in me honors the God in you. Okay, so the God in me also has to acknowledge the God within myself. The highest form of me has to go, hi, I am here, to myself. Hi, I'm your highest and best form, and I am here to, express myself. What can you do in your human form to help me, this spiritual being, having a human experience, not live in the ether all the time, not live in your imagination all the time, not live in theory, but to live in life, to be, to do, to create. What can you do? So the first thing is you can listen to me. That's the first thing you can do, right? And then we can decide, what are we going to do? I am hurting. What can I do? And there's a lot of ways to go about that. Sometimes it's simply speaking the truth on what caused your hurt. First to yourself. And things like that can be a slippery slope, right? Especially if you've been a victim of any sort of abuse or any sort of trauma that involves other people. But again, this is about living namaste. So guess what? Honoring your best and highest good also means you have to honor the truth. And the truth is not always going to be convenient to other people, but the truth will always be in alignment with namaste. What did I just say? The truth will always be in alignment with your best and highest good. So while it may be inconvenient, while it may offend somebody's ego, while it may ruffle people's feathers, rock people's boat, it is for their best and highest good for you to tell the truth to yourself and to speak it out loud, especially if it's going to bring forth healing, which, it does. Truth brings forth healing. Some of the ugliest truths are what needs to be spoken, needs to be said, needs to be acknowledged in order for healing to begin. Of course, that's in your best and highest good. Of course, that's living namaste. And of course, somebody's going to be pissed at you for doing it, for caring about yourself enough to act in your best and highest good. You see why people shy away from living namaste and they just want to bow and smile and, do yogic poses, which in and of themselves are all spiritual. It's not a sport. It's a spiritual practice. I wish Westerners would also acknowledge that part, but that's a whole nother show and we're not going to go there. Living namaste is almost the entire spiritual practice, right? Everything that you thought of in terms of like ascension, alignment, getting your chakras aligned, opening up your chakras, clearing your aura, learning to not only tell the truth, but speak the truth. All of this is living namaste, right? And here's the deal. It's always going to be challenged. Living your best and highest good, consciously choosing ascension, consciously choosing truth, consciously choosing self-love, consciously choosing your best and highest good, constantly setting boundaries, constantly defending your boundaries is going to piss people off. Isn't that so funny how like living your best and highest good in namaste, also some people look at it as a challenge to like disturb you, test it, try to destroy it, try to destroy you, violate your boundaries. It's really interesting, that whole dichotomy of every time love is shown or love is expressed, something or someone comes to challenge it, which, is really interesting because in theory, it's something we all want, right? But, anytime that you are a light and you shine your light, there's somebody who cannot find theirs, is in denial of theirs, who gets really mad that you keep reminding them that they're not doing their work. And I talked about that in the last message. If you missed it, definitely go back and check and listen if you will. Living namaste will be challenged, but not living namaste while saying namaste is going to cause internal friction, conflict, and possibly chaos. Forget about what the rest of the world. I was just talking about you and your life. You cannot keep doing these practices, doing the chanting, doing the research, coming to talk to people like me, and all of us are doing our best to serve you and for your best and highest good. We're all living namaste and showing namaste to you and your best and highest good, for your best and highest good. You've taken the notes, you got the books, you went to the workshops, you went to the retreats, you're doing, the poses, you've downward dog until like you have, guns, right? And the most flexible back and the most flexible body, but still, something is not right. What is not right? What's not right is the part where, again, you think you are in some sort of mental exercise and don't understand that you must You must. It's not even negotiable. You must translate the things that you've learned into a practice of your daily living in order to be living in your best and highest good. You must set boundaries between yourself and others. You must be willing to defend those boundaries when they are tested, and they will be tested. And you know who's going to test them the first? The people that you love and the people who say they love you. They're going to be the very first and the most frequent violators of your boundaries. Not some stranger out on the street, but somebody who says that they love you. And then you have to decide, is that in my best and highest good? Now, see, this is where, for me, I think a lot of practitioners, get really scared about basically doing their job to the best of their abilities. Everyone wants to talk about light. But when we were talking about setting boundaries, right? We're not just talking about lights, because you may be the light setting your boundary, but somebody's going to come and test it. I would say you should be cautious of somebody saying, set a boundary, and then they neglect saying it will be tested, and they absolutely don't tell you this is how you defend your boundary. Because this is what happens, right? When you're defending your boundary, that may mean you have to tell someone off. That may mean you have to sever a relationship. That may mean, you have to use part of your shadow self in order to defend. I'm very wary of anybody who only talks about light and not the importance of the dark. Not only just the importance of darkness, and I don't mean dark as in depressed. I don't mean dark as in as an evil, but the unknown, simply the unknown, and your ability to defend yourself and your ability to love yourself to the point where when you're looking at a situation where it's going to be me or someone I don't want to offend, you know that you have to choose yourself, because otherwise there's no point in setting a boundary. If you can't defend the boundary, there's no point in setting it. And I think a lot of practitioners don't want to say that. Everybody wants to, give this kind of false impression that light means frivolous, that it means whimsy, that there's no responsibility to it, that there's not a certain heaviness to it, that you're not going to have to use your words and your deeds to defend, your self-love, to continue to practice Namaste with yourselves. It's so funny because, we're quick to, defend our kids, defend our families, and we don't think about it. Of course I'm going to defend, my sister, my brother, my child, my husband, my wife, my whomever. Of course I'm going to defend them. I will do it tooth and nail. I will give my life. But when it comes to you, why is no one telling you? If you're not willing to do the same thing for yourself, you're out of alignment. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I don't know. Truth can sometimes be ugly and dirty. And you know what? So should your spiritual journey be. If you're not getting dirty on your spiritual journey, honey, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. I'm just going to say it. This is an excavation of all things that have been our human experience so far, of the hurt, of the trauma, of the anger, of the insecurity, of, all the things that make us human. And it's not about not having these experiences. It's about working through them. And that's the other thing, living Namaste, right? Living Namaste. If you're following a practitioner that talks so much about light and avoids talking about shadow on their own journey, I'm concerned whether or not they have the tools to help you understand shadow, work with shadow, master your shadow, and be whole on your spiritual journey. Because if they don't have it for themselves, they can't give you what they don't know. So these are the things you have to, think about when you're choosing, whose method you're going to follow, whose book you're going to read, who you're going to, go to asking for help or asking for a session or signing up for a workshop. Please, please do your due diligence. You would do your due diligence in buying a house. You would do your due diligence in finding a doctor. Your spiritual well-being is critical. Don't just be signing up with anybody, okay? If they don't resonate energetically with you, they're not for you. I personally like talking about acknowledging the grittier, dirtier aspects of a spiritual practice. And why is that? One, because I really am so kind of sick of this whole idea that this isn't work. This is work. This is work. This is really the dismantling of ourselves as individuals to rebuild. There's a lot of death and rebirth in ascension there, and it cannot be, ignored. It cannot be avoided. It cannot be sidestepped. The path is forward and up, not to the side, not above. Oh God, rise above, people. Huh? If someone is violating your boundary, what is rising above? That rising above them, that's not gonna, if somebody is trying to violate your boundary, they don't just stop because you're like, peace and love. Now, I love peace and I love love, but I also know those things are gonna be challenged by people, right? I always say this, I'm like, anytime you look at an angel, let's just say, Archangel Michael, holding a sword, usually depicted slaying a demon. I'm just saying, we call upon these entities to protect us and defend us without being willing to defend ourselves, just in words, like the word no. It's a simple word. It's only got 2 letters. And a lot of you are struggling defending your boundaries just by using the word no. But then you want to say namaste. See how that doesn't work? You're not honoring your best and highest good. You're definitely not honoring the other person's best and highest good if you basically are becoming a doormat for them. This is not simple. If somebody told you this was simple, they lied. And everybody has their reasoning for lying. It's not simple, but it is doable. You just have to understand what best and highest good really means. And it's not, on Monday, I'll be namaste. And on Tuesday, I'll just be passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is such a lie of an existence. I really can't stand it. You ever had somebody smile in your face while staring daggers into you? Listen, if you have a problem with me, just say you have a problem with me, because one, you have to assume that I care. Let's just say that I do. We're not going to resolve an issue if you're hiding the issue, right? So also, no passive aggressiveness. But passive aggressiveness literally still has the word aggression there. And you can still feel the aggression when someone is being passive aggressive. It doesn't matter if they have this placid face, which is, usually some sort of mask, right? If they're attacking you, they can be attacking you while smiling, okay? And so you have to decide whether or not you're going to do what's in my best and highest good. One, call you out. I'm sorry, is there a problem? No, there's no problem. I feel like you may be upset about something. And it's funny because with passive aggressives, right, the first thing you're going to do is gaslight you. No, there isn't an issue. Okay. All right. And what I suggest you do is you treat them like there's no issue. You just start ignoring their aggressiveness, because when it turns, when you're dealing with a passive aggressive person, they actually don't have the courage to really speak their truth. So they passively attack you. And I have found if you just confront them with truth, they tend to cower. Because When you're a passive-aggressive person, not only are you basically lying to the person you're attacking, you're lying to yourself because you want to seem like you're a good person, even though you probably in that moment are not being a good person. But again, that's a boundary you're going to have to defend, people. Passive-aggressive people smiling at you while basically attacking you. Namaste. I will honor my best and highest good. I will honor your best and highest good. And you know how I'm going to do that right now? I'm going to acknowledge the fact that you're attacking me. Is there an issue? I'm sorry, is there a problem? Do you need to say something? Because a person who truly loves themselves isn't afraid of controversy. Be wary of the people who cannot deal with any sort of confrontation. Be wary of people who would rather hide behind passive-aggressive swipes, verbal swipes. Be wary of the person who's always trying to be liked and make themselves palatable, because that's not real. It's not real. It's not real. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So here's the thing. Live Namaste. Live Namaste. Don't just say it. Live it. Okay? Defend your boundaries. Truly love yourself to your best and highest good. Call out the best and highest good of others in the way that you speak to them and you treat them. And you're not always going to get it right, so no pressure there. But do your absolute best every time that you can. Defend your boundaries and make it very clear under no uncertain terms to others that if they test your boundaries, you will defend them because you love yourself. Okay? That's all I have for you this week. Thanks so much for joining me this week. I may or may not have glasses next week. And once more, if you enjoy these messages, if you're really getting something from them, make sure you are liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, and leave a comment, especially about Namaste. I really want to hear what you guys think about what I'm saying in this particular video. Are you one of those people going around saying Namaste and you're actually not living it? Got some work to do if you're one of those people. Just a little bit of work to do. All right, thanks so much. Namaste. Have a good day.